ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्तिः रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। Namaste to you all. My love and blessings to you all. In this life, human life, we have been blessed to meet sometime at least and think of the divine. Life is so precious because we will not understand as we go deeper into our life pattern of our life going, we will understand very little time is left for us to transcend the nature and go beyond. Our day-to-day activities and all that will consume lot of time. We have not learned the art of converting into spiritual practice by constantly getting absorbed in the thought of God and attending to the duties of life. Once we learn this part, this art, this science of living in tune with the divine and in tune with the nature, then what all activities you do, eating, sleeping, bathing, all activities, going for earning the office, everything becomes a part of sadhana. Living with our own things, excluding the divine, will not make us reach so fast. How many hours can we spend a day in spiritual practices? Very little. 1 hour if you spend in the morning, 1 hour in the evening also, it looks 1 hour I'm spending in the morning, 1 hour, but 22 hours we are spending in the world every day. So whatever we do, wind up during the 22 hours, we cannot unwind within 2 hours. And with the load that we are carrying of the world with us, when we sit for meditation or japa, that will not allow us to sink within or expand our consciousness to higher levels of existence. You get again and again involved in the same consciousness of the worldly things. We are not able to come out of it. It needs lot of practice, or in the innermost corners of your heart there must be longing for God and love for God. Then the moment you retire, you are totally off the world. You can think of God alone. Till then, we need a little more efforts to know these small moments of our life that we meet each other, exchange our views. It will be something unimaginable grace of the divine. We see the corona our Mataji was telling, Corona the nature has sent the corona to awaken man, but there is Karuna virus also from God. Coronavirus and Karuna virus from God. And that is giving us sufficient time and leisure to think of God, think of ourselves, think where are we to go, which way we have to go. All this we can, as if we are looking into the mirror of our own image, we can turn inward and look, where am I? What are my debits and credits? We can see at our own balance sheet of our life. And we can determine our spiritual status. In the last class, we saw the Indian culture to be the highest achievement in human level, and how to live, how to reach the transcendental, how to bring the transcendental into the day life. All these aspects we saw. And then when we come down to the Vyuthana state, how it will be, how we see God everywhere divine, all that aspects we saw. I'm just recalling, recapitulation of the past. So there are 5 states: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and then Turiya and Vyuthana coming down. Turiya is where we experience the absolute reality with respect to which all this becomes unreal. And then the Turiya state where you see everything as divine. All those things we saw, one absolute existence supporting whole this creation, into which all things dissolve and come back again. That reality, the ultimate reality, as the substratum or the base of our whole Indian culture and the gamut of various aspects of Indian life. So, including psychological and our educational system, everything. Now, we will just go through how the Rishi Munis arrived at this one thing, and the eternity of that language, eternity of the Vedic expressions, eternity of the experiences the Rishi Munis had, where from they got, how they got, how to reach that aspect we'll just see. The Turiya state, when it is reached, we see all things dissolving into one reality, as if we are combining everything and reaching the highest, and then the highest, the cosmic, entire cosmic is as if dissolved into the absolute. So, because we are going from the lower truths to higher truths, stage by stage, and entering into the various levels of this one, and that is the ultimate experience we are going to have. It is called the ultimate. Why do we call it is that as the ultimate? Because it is the ultimate. Even if there are 2, there is a chance of joining. And beyond that you cannot go. Beyond 1 you cannot go. So that is called ultimate. Similarly, apart from that, when you enter into superconscious state, samadhi sthiti, you will have nothing else other than all are just like when you come down also, you will see a ocean of Satchidananda, a ocean of bliss, peace, love, absolute. In that, all things, the whole universe and multiple universes, Ananta Koti Brahmandas, are floating just like waves in a ocean. Appearance only. It is ocean only. Like that, all this is appearance in God. God appears. If you look at the sky, the clouds you see, various forms it is taken Some cloud looks like an elephant, some looks like a horse, a man sitting in meditation. So many things you see, clouds have taken the form. But it's clouds. Material one. The substance is one, it's appearing as many. That is the experience you get. Apart from here also, in this world also, except God, nothing is there. One is appearing as many. That's why it's called absolute. Apart from it, nothing exists. Both in the superconscious state and Vyuttana state, you will experience that one is here. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, it is like a wax, everything is made up of wax, a world of wax. How it would be? It looks like that after the realization. One God, one Chaitanya appearing as many things. So, that's why it's called absolute. Similarly, when we see when we are waking up, this world is real for us. The moment we sleep, it disappears. We enter into dream state, we are dreaming, we are seeing a world, entirely different world. The laws are different, we are experiencing that. Even when you experience, that world is not there, dream world is not there. Still we are experiencing it. And when we wake up, that world disappears. When we sleep, this world disappears. Similarly, when we go to deep sleep. Now, what is the reality? What is the absolute reality, ultimate reality? We are moving from lower real to the higher level, real reality. Just like what we see, earth moving around the sun. We don't see. We see standing on the earth, living on the earth, looking from the earth. We see only sun moving around the earth. Sun rises, sun moves, sun sets. Sun is moving. This is the reality. Anybody may say anything, scientists may say it is otherwise, but what we see, the truth, is we see the sun moving the earth. Now, suppose you leave this place and go beyond the solar system and look at it. Then you will see earth is moving around the sun and not sun the earth. That is higher reality. As you climb higher consciousness, you will see we are moving from the lower truth to higher truth. The Vedas don't use the term unreal. They use the term mithya instead many times. But anritam is the use. Ritam is the reality flowing into the eternal principles that are going to support the universe is called the ritam. Anritam, it is called anritam. Not asatya term is not used. Satyanritam mithuni kritya lokoyam samsaraha. So this is, compared to that, this is unreal. When you go there, when you go outside the solar system, you will understand, oh, I was thinking sun is moving. That is unreal. That becomes unreal only when you reach a place beyond the solar system. So, entering into the superconscious state, you will understand the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, all the three were unreal. And when you come down, you will be witness of all the three states, waking, dreaming and deep sleep. You are seeing the whole universe at the gross, subtle and causal level. It's a beautiful experience. Just like I am seeing you now. You are seeing me. You are seeing only my body only. But when I see at you, I see your body, I see your mental existence of subtle body, I see the causal body of yours and the pure consciousness supporting all the three. If you are able to see a person like that, how it would be that you are seeing the bulb as well as the light inside when it is switched on. When it is off, you see only bulb. Like that, can you see all the three layers of existence of all this universe, of every individual? That will be what is the experienced. In the so we use the independent of all this, the without any reference point. If for all this absolute reality, ultimate reality, and all this ultimate, everything has a reference point. We are with respect to the our existence. We are telling independent of all these things as it stands, without any reference point. When you say, we say the truth, Satya, Sat Chit Ananda. The Sat term, the truth. Reality is different, truth is different. We use the term truth. So that the expressions, how these expressions are used, then we see the whole creation is there. The innumerable universes, multiple universes concept is just coming in the field of science now. We are in the one of the universes. So millions and millions of universes are there, time and space bound. It is floating in the timeless, spaceless existence, the absolute existence, the Satchidananda Sagara. And these are constantly, because time and space are there. Time means change is there. When there is a change, only we say time. Otherwise, time is not there if there is no change. In your deep sleep, you are not able to conceive any time because there is no change. Change registers time. Now, this time and space bound universe is constantly changing flux. Everything in this universe is changing. I am changing. Every moment I am changing. I am not noticing it. Two people cannot meet second time because both have changed. One moment previous, what you were, your experiences, your life, your age, everything has changed in a moment. The same person cannot meet second time. You are entirely new person now. The other person is also entirely new next moment. Every moment it is changing like balance sheet. So that much of constant changes are there. This change is not haphazard. It is governed by a law, perfect law of nature. These movements of the sun, the electrons, everything, our life, our growth, our decaying, our birth, our death, everything is governed by a law. That strict law that none can escape. That law, it's bound, the universe is bound. So these laws, what supports them is that absolute. The absolute is supporting these laws to maintain the universe. So we call that reality which is supporting as the eternal principles governing the changes. Eternal principles for a constantly changing universe, constantly changing society. So, why I am explaining these terminologies we use in Hinduism or Indian culture and spirituality is you must get acquainted with these things. This is what is going to come. Vyakta, Avyakta and all this. Chaitanya, one of the important words. So these things is for the moment. Suppose you love one person and that person's name is taken, how you feel? It hits your heart. Like that, it must hit your mind. Every word. So these words, clear understanding of these terminologies we are using in the spiritual and religious world of ours, the Indian concepts. We have to get acquainted, one for contemplation. Just to think of those words, think of the reality, the inconceivable thing. which mind cannot conceive. We cannot understand what is it. It is something like a blind man, you are trying to make him understand what is light and what are colors. He is totally born blind. You are making him, trying to make him understand there is something called colors, there is something called light. How it would be. Like that, our mind cannot grasp it. No instrument we have to experience the transcendental. So it is exactly like blind man trying to understand, and it is indicated by words only for the blind man. Light has come, sun has risen. All these are just mere words for him. Like that, ultimate, the absolute, the Chaitanya, all these are mere words for us actually. But it gives an inkling, a something, hinting at a thing which, there is a thing that you can attain. And that is the purpose for which the whole scriptures are there. Except scriptures and the people who have realized it, there is no other proof of existence of a transcendental entity at all. So here the contemplation on the revelations the sages had, and they have put it in words, expressed through words, and recorded in as the Vedas. We will see it perhaps next time, how that knowledge perpetuates as eternal. The creation ends and comes up again, but the knowledge comes bloomed at all times. With the blooming of the universe blooms the knowledge also of the Absolute. So how it happens, we'll see. But the thing is, the significant thing here is by concentrating, by contemplating, by going on thinking on the Vedic truths and these terminologies that are used, we at least touch the surface of we may not be able to comprehend or enter into it, but we can touch and feel it. Like a child in the dark night, mother is not found by the side, it goes on touching each thing. And where is mother, it will be searching. Then finally it touches body. Then how it feels, oh, here is the mother. It has not experienced anyway, it is not able to see, it is dark, but it feels. That feeling you can have of the God. So this just a feeling that which touches your heart, that feeling will dissolve all the differences that you find in this universe. Your conscious starts expanding. A glimpse of that, the remotest glimpse will make you dissolve. But one thing, the intellectual perception, what we are trying to go through, intellectual perception cannot give you the real understanding of the truth. Because intellect has limitations, it cannot penetrate into the reality. And it cannot be brought within the four walls of academic understanding. Like studies in school, I am going to master philosophy, Indian philosophy, and do research on that. No, you can't know the inner secrets at all. What do we need then? If intellect, which is the ultimate in us, if it cannot understand it, what then do we need to understand the inner stuff of the reality? It is your heart. When there is emotional involvement, then only, however genius a person might be, however gifted be he cannot understand what is the Indian culture or spirituality, he cannot understand. Unless he gives his heart to it. When he gets emotional involvement into it, then this understanding demands emotional involvement. Then the moment you start feeling it, feel Hinduism, feel Indian culture. When you start feeling, you start entering into the inner apartments, which will be closed otherwise for the intellect. So when you enter into the inner field, you get an entirely different picture. So how the balanced viewing of the intellect and the heart, emotional involvement and the intellectual sharpness to grasp the thing equips you rather with what is necessary, the inner secrets and outer secrets. Map is before you to go now. It equips you for the journey also. Actually, why are we going to study all this? We have to land in that land. We have to land in that realm. So, for landing in that realm of the Absolute, we are studying all this. Otherwise, it has no purpose. The academic understanding will not lead you anywhere. For landing, we need the equal balanced understanding of this. Then you will see that you are climbing into the other fields of reality. So this is what we exactly need in our life. The Sri Ramakrishna, when he practiced all the denominations of Hinduism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism, Vaishnava, Shakta, Shaiva, Advaita, Vishishta Advaita, Advaita, Christianity, Islam, and all this, he never did anything as an outsider, as an insider. Even Islam, when he practiced, as an insider he practiced, not as an outsider. Viewing from outside as an outsider will not reveal the truth which is contained in it. You see a packet only, outer cover. What it contains inside cannot be known. When you want to know the insider, be an insider and go. So when you come to the Indian culture, Indian spirituality, you have to become the insider. How to become insider? Get emotionally involved. Understand everything as much through the intellect, so much through the heart also. You have to fix the heart on that. So this is the way we go. And in nature, every human is endowed with that ability to enter into the superconscious state. It is embedded within the faculty needed. It is there. Even if you go through the history, the blind, the lame, the crippled have realized God. Ashtavakra, Surdas was blind. So many people, all these people, and even the mentally retarded people who cannot think properly, they are led by many of their parents who are spiritualists, who they have led their children constantly showing the Ramas, this one and all. How they get involved into it, how they absorb, because realization is done not by the body-mind complex. It is independent of the soul realizes. Each time you get the vision of God, whole body, mind, everything becomes still. The inner self awakens. It is this. They have the inner self intact. Outer, even if the brain is distorted, doesn't matter. The heart is there to understand. Recently, last time when I went to Bangalore, I was taken to a mentally retarded children. They use the term mentally challenged nowadays. I am using specific to make you understand how the children reacted to my going. Swamiji has come. They don't understand, but Swamiji has come. One person was behind me throughout. He's not able to walk properly. He's not able to talk properly. He doesn't comprehend things. Swamiji's blessing is there. I've become fearless in my life. I will move with Swami. He's continuously moving behind me. I have not talked to him. They have told Swamiji will come and bless you. You imagine. The heart is there to perceive the God. Even in the brain has gone, let it go. It doesn't matter. Heart has not gone. They feel. They too can realize. And whole humanity, if you see, all this together, will it be 1%, 2%? What about 98, 99% of the human race? They are endowed with perfect body and mind. All are endowed with that capability to realize God, to reach the ultimate. And we have to utilize that. The ancient sages of our nation, our this Bharatavarsha, all this went on in that path. And we see the nature has not only given this ability to every human or limited it, but she has kept the knowledge open to all at all times. Nothing is hidden. It is open. You have to, just if you want to know anything in this universe, it is possible. Be it God, be it of this nature, anything. One thing that you need is to gather yourself, integrate yourself, and concentrate. You cannot be thrown away into pieces, mind one place, senses one place, body one place, scattered, and you cannot seek the knowledge. You have to gather yourself, integrate yourself, then learn to penetrate yourself. You have become the arrow now, and you are the bow also. So that penetration is concentration. Ekagrata. Ekagrata is possible when you are one, not many. We have been multi-personalities there in each one of. With parents I am one person, with friends I am one person, with my family I am one person, in the office I am one person. So many personalities are mixed. With one person I behave in particular way, with another in another way. But if you say the saint's life, they are wherever they are one. In front of God, in front of family, in front of society, wherever they are one personality, no multiple personality. This is integration. We bring then concentration. Then when you concentrate, you cannot find out. Nature reveals. Your part you have to do, nature's part she will do. You concentrate and nature reveals. That's all. It's open for you. Even the superconscious state entering, knowing God also. It is within your, this one. The whole practice lies in myself becoming one. One alone can know that one. It's a flight of the alone with A capital, A small letter, alone, to the A, alone. The God is also alone, I am also alone. This is small alone, A, and that's capital alone, A. It is a flight from the alone to the alone. So I have to become that. I cannot have many ways of living, many ways of existing. The existence has to be reduced. So this is there. And then how did the rishis go about in those days of the yore? See, every jiva wants peace, bliss and freedom. All jivas are after this. They also wanted to have joy, wanted to have peace, they wanted to have freedom. Then they started searching because Paranchikhani Vyatrana Swayambhu Tasmat Parang Pashyati Nantaratma Kaschid Dhiraha Pratyagatmana Maikshata Avritta Chakshuhu Amritatvamichan. Paranchikhani, the senses, Paranchikhani, Vyatrana Swayambhu. You cannot ask why did he do it. He has set the senses outgoing because he has all the freedom in his own right he does. Whoever has done it, the nature or God, whatever you call, the senses are set outside, and therefore the man looks always outside and not within. So when he starts looking within, then it will be all right. But his nature, these sages also started searching outside. But immediately they understood, no, it might have taken few centuries also. Many lives must have gone in the search. But then they found, no, we cannot have freedom in this nature because nature governs the everything. From my birth to death, my sukha, dukkha, everything is governed by nature. And I cannot have freedom here in this. Peace, yes, fragments here and there. Now you are peaceful, again it breaks. Joy, you cannot have unbroken joy at all times. It is because everything is constantly changing. In ever changing, how will you find constant joy? I am changing, object of love is changing, everything is changing. How can I have the eternal joy? I can't have. So what they did, oh, this is not possible. So how splitting everything and finding out, they stopped. They started expanding instead. They started feeling concern about other things. Why? Everything was interesting to them. Just like a child goes to a park, everything, playing things, this, that, flowers, everything attracts. So were the Rishi Munis. They were enjoying everything, what they saw, what they hear. So what happened? The nature was so beautiful. The rising sun, the setting sun, the stars at night, the changing phases of moon, and the love that nature was pouring on everyone through the seasons, changing seasons, crops, flooding with food material. All this is the love that the nature pours on the jivas. They started something like embracing the whole universe. How beautiful, so nice, so sacrificing this is. So when they start this holding on to nature, experiencing nature, expanding, their consciousness naturally starts expanding. What is happening there? Where the other side of the ocean, what is there? Let me see. There, let me enter into the things beyond our earth. So slowly they started coming to know about the planets, stars, varieties of things in the cosmic existence. Then astronomy came into the picture. Astrology, its effects on the human existence also came into picture. They started going, not splitting and knowing like Western minds. It is uniting and seeing. Uniting and seeing. So if there are two, because their consciousness was expanding, everything was bringing in their own fold. Splitting and seeing is one thing, uniting and seeing is another thing. The Indian concepts were, if there are two, what is the common base below? from where it has emerged to where it goes back. They started seeing where is the common. Then they saw the universe at the cosmic level consisting of the 14 lokas. Still, as the expansion entered the cosmic levels, they started sinking within also. Not only expanding in the nature, sinking in the nature. They saw the subtler and causal levels of existence. The Sthula Sukshma Karana level. Just like individual, what we have, we pass through the Jagra Swapna Sushupti, we have three bodies. The universe also is having the three layers of existence. This whole universe as it is, they could understand what it is. You see, thousands of years back, they were able to tell which day the eclipse come, what time to the last second, how does it, and how it ends, what time it ends, they were able to tell. Because with that perfection they knew the nature. So, but they never saw that their research or their inventions do not harm nature. By no means it will harm any aspect of nature, be it animals or plants or the atmosphere as it is. Nothing was to be harmed. That they took care. That, and they found whatever you do in the external world, it is not going to solve the problems of human existence. This is an important discovery in the history, that external things cannot remove the problems of human existence, birth and death, the suffering. All this cannot be removed by any means. You invent anything in this universe, suffering of mankind. Now, how far we have gone into the science, but suffering could not be removed. It will not be removed because cause is not the physical matter. It is my own karma. When my actions are so, how can physical matter help? So they left it there. Oh, we should not go waste our time in inventing things. It is sufficient we live a decent, fine life with maximum time available for higher search. So they had agriculture, metallurgy, they could make vessels, this, that, stopped with the minimum requirements of life, so that minimum efforts and maximum outcome is there. The time saved by them was invested in searching for the solving the human problems, like Buddha, how he went to solve there is a suffering, how to get rid of it. So the sages went in that field to search for the problems. The consciousness expansion is one thing, sinking within it is. As they started sinking down, as you go from layer to layer, you will see that the earlier layer disappears always and merges in the other. As you go ahead, as if the universe is folding behind you and coming with you. Just when you enter into sleep, you see the world which you are till then you are seeing, that world disappears, you see. Like that, when you sink into the reality, when you sink into the real, you see, last they found all things merging back in each other. Only 5 elements, basic elements from which the whole universe has come. Panchatanmatras, Akashad, Vayu, Agni, Rapa, Adve, Prithvi. All these 5 elements were there. the whole thing coming back. As you go further, the earth tattva, Prithvi tattva merging in the Jala tattva merging in the Agni tattva merging in the Vayu tattva merging in the Akasha tattva. That is the end of the universe. They went to up to that. Beyond that is the world of Chaitanya. So here they found the last Akasha tattva. How did this universe come into existence? They saw a power that was manifesting first as the matter, as the Akasha, space. From that the air comes, Vayu tattva. This, the root, the whole universe is but one reality. It is appearing as the solidarity of the universe, the matter, the oneness, the non-differential homogeneous existence which appears to later on as Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. That one existence, they called it Prakriti, the nature. We call it with capital N. My nature and your nature, we put small n, ting ting. But when we say the nature, we use this one, N capital, Prakriti. Prakriti has the Moola, cause of the power. It is energy that is getting manifested into matter. Matter and energy are interconvertible. E is equal to mc square. So the sages reached. This is what we are experiencing. This is the knowledge that I have given. Beyond this is the superconscious state of experience. This is also a kind of superconscious state but we have not yet left the realm of the nature. It is something like dhyana avastha, samadhi avastha. In samadhi, higher types of samadhis are there. And you see, as you are entering into higher and expansion goes on, when you are seeing so many lokas, you will come across the demigods like Gandharvas, Kinnaras, and all these. These are not something mental conceptions only without a corresponding reality. I asked Tapasyananji Maharaj one day, night class was going on. The about Gandharvas and Kinnaras and all came up. Then I asked Tapasyananji Maharaj, are these things real? Tapasyananji looked at me with surprise and said, yes. I asked, what is the proof? He said, how long will you be this body? Can you come out of this bodily existence and look at this universe? You are remaining as body, you cannot see these truths. Transcend the body, you will get the reality. If you want to see, you are clinging to this body, you have become a body, you have born as a body, live as a body and die as a body. Can you see something beyond the bodily limits? Come out of the body. Awareness. Look at the world. Look at the universe. You will see many things. All the lokas you can enter and perceive. If you can, withdraw yourself from this bodily existence. Just like you withdraw when you enter into sleep. You have to enter into the other realms of existence. You can. So, these are all the truths the Rishi Munis found out and the recordings are there. Today we'll stop at this because the eternity of this one we have to see. how can we prevent slipping back into unspiritual habits during sadhana when we have not still got a taste of higher joy? See, higher joy doesn't come so easily. Bhajanaji Maharaj was telling us, those who seek peace in the beginning will never get peace. They have to pass through the terrain of intense struggle before they go. But these things, certain things, as I said, by contemplating, by simulating, by visualization, you have to comprehend them through simulation. You have to experience it and get that joy at the mental level, at intellectual level, so that you will not slip back. You are something you are holding, and then through constant prayer and divine awareness. Awareness guides all your actions and thoughts. If you get, by grace of God, constant company of a very difficult and advanced soul or a realized soul, or constant satsanga, satsanga means a person must be there who has gone a little ahead of us, if not a realized soul. A one who at least knows the import of the scriptures as it is sufficient with the experience of life. So otherwise it will be, we join together, we are in the same boat. It is like a hospital without a doctor. Each is exchanging their ignorance. It should not become like that. In a hospital, his cough he will give to other person and take the fever from him. Exchange the ignorance. No, there must be somebody who can give the at least intellectual and clear understanding of the realities, and it must touch your heart. It's all right. Otherwise, through studies you have to maintain three things. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra calls as Kriya Yoga. In that, tapas, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhana. This sustains the spiritual life from any kind of slip or even lethargy or alasya, laziness, and all these problems it will solve and keep you always fresh and active in sadhana. Tapa, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhana. Tapas, anything, somebody insults you, you gladly bear it, it's a tapasya. Some desire comes, you want to eat masala dosa, and you say, doesn't matter, I will take ganji only, doesn't matter. Then one tapasya, one more tapasya. So each time your mind and soul wants to fight or have a control, restrain. This becomes tapasya. Every moment in your life, every day, there is an opportunity to control. You want to talk, you want to tell something, restrain. It becomes tapasya. You want to run and see TV, have a restraint. It becomes tapasya. So, tapa swadhyaya. You have to support by constant study. See what we are doing. I am giving you everything in a systematic manner, and I am writing down also. After going, I will write down what all I have told you. And this is going to be reaching you within a day or two again. What I have told you again, you just go through once, it will stand in your mind. So it becomes your own property. In times of danger, it will protect you, it will lift you, it will buoyance you from sinking. So, tapas, swadhyaya, Don't read things written by people who are intellectuals. They know how to present, but there won't be realities. As far as possible, realize souls, what they have written, scriptures. These things will, if you read other things, it is waste of time. The internal fighting and external fighting will continue. Your precious time will go away. Instead of that, you can call on God, or this reading must be very careful, that you are reading only people of. That's why when we join the mission, they don't advocate us reading anything other than scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Thakur Mother Swamiji's literature. Within that, after the training center, the President Maharaj was asked by brahmacharis, we are going now, we have done a lot of studies here, what do you expect us to study after going back? President Maharaj said, if you want to realize God, gospel alone is sufficient, gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. If you want to fight with others, read other things. So, we need to understand the necessity of reading. It will keep you, one thing is life of the saints and all, keep you inspired always. Yes, he has done. Now, Tukaram, in the family, what a family he had. His wife was a strong wrestler who could lift him and put behind, keep him on the tree and bring him down at his will, at her will. So, in those circumstances, the people have realized God. So, the saints' lives and all is constantly inspiration and shows us the path how to go. And then their wordings. So, this scriptures, tapasvade Ishvara pranidhana. Pranidhana. Dha is to place. I am placing myself totally at the feet of God, at His mercy, with the unconditional surrender. Constant. For that it begins with the awareness, feeling the living presence of God with you. Feel the living presence of God with you. As if God, you are gardening, you feel God is with you and you are walking with Him. You are doing in His presence. Now and then look at Him with the corner of your eye. And He will also, when you are plucking the flowers, He will show His face in between. That much of intimacy, that much of dependence, that much of love you must have, that you feel His living presence with you and have an intimate relationship, love with Him, true love of God. Then you'll see nothing bothers you. All your past tendencies that you have gathered will be dissolved. So, this way we can go. These are all we passed through. Does realized souls, saints, have any specific worries, unlike daily wage concerns? Corners, who always worry to earn for living and feed the family. Please suggest the key practices required to subside these materialistic worries for a common man. The thing is, saints and realized souls, they don't care for anything because they see oneness. God has become everything. But one thing, nature, as long as nature keeps a realized soul in the prakriti, among humans, she keeps one weak point, that he sees God everywhere. But when he sees a suffering man, he becomes molten. He melts there. He cannot bear the suffering of others. That is the only weak point where the knowledge cannot be applied. Because the Divine Mother, the nature, hides it for the welfare of the beings. Otherwise, there is no necessity of keeping the body even alive. He is one with God at all times, whether with body or without body. This is one weakness in these realized souls that makes them work in the world, strive for the welfare of others, go on teaching others, giving light to others. They know it is unreal, but still they do. Just like a mother is there, she sees the child weeping in sleep. Tiger, 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 it's weeping in sleep. Mother knows the dream is unreal, tiger has not come, but still she wakes up. Why does she wake up? There is no tiger, she knows. But why? Because without tiger he is afraid. That's why she is waking up. People are weeping for no reason. Just like weeping, the child weeping in dream. She knows, but because nothing is there, still he is weeping, she wakes him up. Otherwise she would have driven the tiger instead of waking up the child. Because it is unreal. For which the man is striving and weeping, it is not there. So, what we have to, our dependence on God for everything, we have to inculcate. Anything happening in our life, first thing we have to approach God. And God is there to protect me. The faith in God should not become, in the saints' life you will see, for their personal living and for the family maintenance, total dependence on God. You can see all the saints, Maharashtrian saints' life you read, from Tukaram, Eknath Maharaj or anybody's life, you will see that God is providing everything. The sun of divine protection is there in dark hours of the life and in the bright hours of the life. I have written this in the daily tidbits. In a few days it will come to you. The God's protection is always there on the sadhaka. Nature's push is there. Nature is holding and trying to push. A person is trying to climb the ladder. His hands are weak. What will the person behind will do? He will put his hand and start pushing him. Like nature is pushing. God is holding an umbrella upon you. That protection is always there. Whether you are in suffering or in this one, you are in distress or in joyful moods, jubilant, it's His protection. This you must understand. At all times I am under the umbrella of God. I have nothing to worry. A child is not worried. How mother will, even a beggar's child is not worried. How my mother will get my food. She sees somehow, if she cannot get from begging, she will steal and bring and give it to the child. The child is not at all worried. How the mother, what my mother is, how much she contains, that kind of faith in God. Yes, I am a spiritual aspirant. Everything of mine will be taken care. And the more faith you have, more smoother your life will go, more smoother the sadhana will go, and everything becomes this one. In distress also you need not worry. Everything is a passing event. And the bright days and dark days come and go. The purpose of human life, we are living here for few days and we'll be able to make up all things. Okay? The coronavirus is moving world from material pleasures to spiritual visualization. How this will affect our next generation? Will we move from globalization to localization? Will our educational system change? There will be drastic change. We will see how many of us will survive first. It is a terrible thing if you don't find any medicine for this. And the thing is, when it comes as seasonal, and this year is gone, again next year we are going to encounter it, then it will be a great problem. The virus, when it each time survives a season, it gets adjusted to new climatic conditions. If he has already tasted some antibiotics, he'll become immune to those antibiotics and start living a new virus, as if in new dimensions it can survive. So we have to see. One thing is, that's what, as Mataji said, with the coronavirus, there is a Karuna virus also from God. We have to hope for that. And there will be drastic change. This will bring about a whole global changes. We may not, but the thing is, we will, because of the false hopes and false living we had, we were not, see, nobody wanted to enter into mechanical engineering and civil engineering. I used to feel these are eternal things. Computer science will come and go away. A day will be there when, if there is no food to eat, we can't eat computers. There is plenty of mobiles in every house. You cannot make mobile curry and computer rasam. You can't. We have to plow the land. The mother nature has given us plenty. How we lived a few centuries back. Our own small house, a few cows, and this one. But those who are capable to live independent of that, to give support to these people who grow their food and give us the food also, the other things also be taken care, and taken care of the spiritual part of their life. Those who are educated, those who are capable of understanding, those who are capable of doing little sadhana, they must give the spiritual wealth to this world. From whichever standard they are, they need not go to the plowing. But many have to go to the plowing. And we must be able to give them the plowing materials they need, which will be made into, see, cobblers were there in a society. How a beautiful social system was there. Each one doing his own work, like the whole body. It's a body. Eye will do its work, ears will do its work. So many things we had. A goldsmith was there, one blacksmith was there. Blacksmith used to make, even now in villages if you go, I was there in Ishwarpur, anything happening, they will run to the carpenter in the village. Carpentry is ready all the through, and his only work, his and his family, is to work on the computer work, this carpenter work. So they'll be given, they don't get wages daily or anything. Once when the crop comes, all the village people will go and give the cobbler something, the carpenter, blacksmith in the village, they will go and give once in a year. Whole year they will serve all the people, whatever they want, they have to do. My plow is broken, he will take to the particular skilled person. He will repair and give. All this we may have to go back a little and begin with and the American system was made, the food grains will not go beyond 100 kilometers from where it is grown. Lot of energy is spent, petrol is spent. Grow in your own fields, areas, and sustain by that. We have to change the whole social system. We have to go back how we lived in earlier days. It will bring many changes. It will bring, including the education system. We will be trained to meet all the crises in our life. We will be taught every bit of our life. How from spiritual to the lowest physical living. Now we are trained, the information feeding is there, practical life is not there. No practical life of absolute self-dependence we must become. I must be able to totally depend upon myself for my living and for my attainment. This is what we need the education. Yes. When we come back into solar system, having gone outside to realize the unreal, will we still hold that knowledge for the lives to come, that life and experiences are mithya? When the world becomes unreal, there is no coming and going. The birth and death are like putting on clothes, because I am witness of all the three levels of existence. Suppose dying is, I am removing one cloth, inner cloth remains as it is. Swimming cloth is there, outer wrapper alone I have removed. Like that, the inner cloths will remain, the subtle body. They carry the knowledge. When after realization, if I take birth also, my knowledge doesn't get altered, or that one, because I am witness of all the three states of existence of my own and at the cosmic level. I know the Virat, I know the Hiranyagarbha, I know the Ishvara. I know the Prajna, I know the Taijasa, I know the Vishwa. The three layers of my existence. There is no actual coming and going. I am wrapping one more a cloth just for my fun, than coming into the existence with a physical body. After realization, you don't have limitations. You are not bound by the nature law. It is your will and your wish. But you cannot go against the will of nature or the laws of nature.
Last.
What are the steps to attain the highest? Some say 12 crore japa you do, you will be. Your heart must long for it. The japa doing will help to clear many of the obstructions that we have. But does your heart, whatever you aspire for in this world, you are getting? Will you not get that? You want to enjoy masala dosa, you will definitely get. Will you not get God if you seek? You will get. But where is that seeking? Sri Ramakrishna, when Vivekananda comes and asks him, have you seen God? He says, yes, I have seen God more clearly than I am seeing you now. And not only I have seen, you too can see. You can talk to Him, touch Him, feel Him, and talk to Him. How much assurance He gives. Not only I can make you see also, He says. But then He, with tears in His eyes, says, but who seeks? For wife and children, they pour pots of tears. But who weeps for God? That kind of longing we don't have. All our sadhanas generate a day when I cannot exist without God. Then the realization comes. All right? Shall we end? And the notes I am sending, once at least you please go through at your leisure. Now only leisure you have and you can go through. हे प्रार्थना जगदीश से यह स्वर्ग सम हो अति उच्चतम जीवन बने परमार्थमय व्यवहार हो ना हम रहे अपने लिए हमको सभी से गर्ज है। गुरुदेव ये आशीष दो, जो सोचने का फर्ज है। हम हो पुजारी तत्व के, गुरुदेव के आदेश के, सच प्रेम के नित नेम के, सद्धर्म के सत्कर्म के, वो चीड़ झूठी राह की, अन्याय की अभिमान की, सेवा करन में दास की, परवाह नहीं हो जान की। छोटे न हो हम बुद्धि से, हो विश्वमय से ईशमय, हो राममय और कृष्णमय, जगदेवमय जगदीशमय। हर इंद्रियों पर ताब कर, हम वीर हो अति वीर हो, उज्ज्वल रहे सर से सदा, निज धर्म रथ खंबीर हो, अति उच्च हो आचार से, तन मन हमारा सर्वदा, अध्यात्म की शक्ति हमें पल भी नहीं कर दे जुदा। इस अमर आत्मा का हमें हर श्वास भर में गत रहे। गर मौत भी तो आ गई, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे। गर मौत भी तो आ गई, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे। सुख दुख हमसे सम